And we're live. So, please say your name and what you did on Captain Vietnam for the viewers to know.
I'm Amy, and I voiced the mom of the main character and also his ex-girlfriend.
All right. And so, first off, I didn't write down questions for this, so we're just gonna do this super casually. So, like, first off, how is it like being a voice actor on Captain Vietnam?
It was actually really intimidating when you asked me to like voice some characters. Like I didn't really know much about the script
Mm-hmm.
because you only sent me like one piece of paper, and then I didn't know the full story, so I just had to like go what I had and then what you told me to. And I
Yeah.
kept messing up on the voices too. So
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's okay. Like, that's why we do multiple tries, even if you get it right. Like, I did that with everyone, I think.
yeah.
All right. And then, so, it's also, yeah, I gave you a pretty bare bones script. Because, like, if I gave you the whole thing, it would just be kind of hard to figure out what you had to do specifically.
And also, it was hard for me to switch between the voice of the mom and the ex-girlfriend because I can't sound like an Asian mom and just like switch.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hard accent to pull off. So it's just like change whatever you can. And then I tried to mess around with that while I was
Yeah.
editing it. I think it worked out.
And and also with like people like watching me, I think that messed me up more because if I were to be alone, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think I could like pull off like different voices too, but because of like, and then we were on a tight schedule too because we had to do something else like after that,
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
yeah, I didn't want to waste too much time, so I kind of was nervous. I kind of felt kind of pressured too.
Yeah,
It turned out all right though.
really. Okay. So would you say it was like worth it then, going through all that?
Yeah, I think it was worth it for you know, helping you out in your film.
All right, thanks. But yeah, it was pretty tough overall. Like having two separate female voices, which uh, we only had one girl on set to do. And yeah, it's like it was a pretty tight schedule. We were trying to get out get out the short film by uh, before school started, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got it done. So hey, all right. Um, Next thing that I've been asking all the other guys was have you seen like any benefit to Captain Vietnam? Have you like learned anything? Because Texas said that like he learned more on how to market himself, and then one of the other guys said that he learned more on how to be comfortable and how to basically work hard in the way that being on a film set would.
I think I learned not to like be too intimidated and nervous, and I learned that I should apologize for everything I feel like I did wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and just like put myself out there because yeah, like I was like uncomfortable at first, but like like I shouldn't apologize for what I
Yeah,
struggle to do because like I could just like work to make it better.
yeah,
It was
that's
it was like my first time doing something like serious as a voice actor too. So, might as well just like do it and then not feel bad about what I did wrong.
yeah, it's definitely it's a pretty low key thing, so it's like not too much that you need to really apologize for. Like everyone here was first time, so but I mean the results turned out pretty great despite all that.
Yeah,
So I think that's great that you managed to sort of come to terms with the fact that mistakes are gonna happen, but you can
yeah,
improve from that. All
yeah.
right. Um, Okay, and so I think this is. Let's ask the question that only you specifically can answer. Was it like kind of weird being the only girl around doing this thing, or?
Yeah, I didn't feel it was weird because like we were all friends.
Okay.
And I don't think it changes the fact that it changes anything at all.
Okay. That sounds. I'm very glad that that's the answer that
Yeah,
came through, because I really don't want to make anyone uncomfortable while working for
yeah,
me. And that's why I specifically chose to work with people I already know throughout all of this, just picking out from a bunch of high school friends.
yeah. Like I didn't really see a problem with anything except that I was, concerned about taking too much time.
Okay. Um, and then what else? I've been asking the other guys, the other voice actors, how they felt about the ghetto audio setup, basically.
Oh, like with the blanket.
Yeah, the blanket
it was
on the bike.
it was weird, but we pulled it off. And I was sweating like so much under that blanket,
Oh yeah.
and I think that factored in making like the experience kind of uncomfortable, but it
Okay.
wasn't that big of a deal. So,
Yeah, I was trying to fan you guys under there. But there's only so much. You're under a blanket in
yeah.
summer. Uh, sorry about that.
hmm
But but it was worth it, I suppose, right?
Yep. But I'm
Uh,
surprised that you tried pulling the blanket off thing because like usually when I record audio, I just like screw it, like it's
mm-hmm.
gonna turn out fine. Like I'm just gonna speak like super loud to like drown out all the background noise.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely helpful, but
Yeah.
the one thing that I learned more with sound is like you really have to try and absorb it as well so that it
Mm,
sounds like it fits inside the room that it looks on the screen. So if it's
yeah.
outdoors, then you have to make it sound outdoors and give
Oh,
it,
that's true.
yeah, compared to being inside a regular room that echoes a lot. And so you can mess around with that in editing. That's what I did here.
Yeah.
But to do that, you need to get like pretty clean audio where
Mm,
it's just only the words and nothing else.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I knew for sure I needed to get an echo effect on the words in
Mhm.
one scene, and that I would have to do a bunch of different kinds of echoes. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to get it clean.
Yeah, as clean as possible.
Yeah. And then another thing I've asked the guys, have you done like anything yourself concerning digital media or like filming things?
In general, or are you talking specifically about voice acting?
Just in general, because you said this was your first time voice acting.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like I do like edit stuff, and I took a class in high school, or
Mm-hmm.
two classes in high school concerning like video editing and yeah, like voice recording and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
because like usually when there's a yeah we I actually had to do a documentary where I had to voice over stuff, but
Mm.
it wasn't as formal as like my voice was just reading off a script
Oh,
and
okay.
not like putting that much emotion. It was kind of like a documentary.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then
and
what was that documentary for?
it was for a class,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we had to like come up with like a fictional documentary about like anything at all. And then
Mm-hmm.
like I chose to do mine on like climate change,
Oh, okay.
and I just like the audio from the recording was ruined, so I had to voice over some stuff,
Ah, that sucks.
and I had to scream to the mic because I didn't really have a good setup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cheap too
What was your
because
setup like?
it's just normal. It's just my phone and then like headphones, and
Oh,
just like
okay.
mic. Because in class we had like proper equipment, like the what you call I forgot what's called, but it was like just like proper setup with like an Astro recorder and
Oh, okay.
your mic and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like an
yeah,
audio recorder thing.
yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
you just got out of high school this year, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. So, one thing I've asked the other guys is like, what are your future plans? What are you working towards? Like, I know the pandemic kind of paused everything. But if we weren't in a pandemic, like what would you really be trying to push forward to?
I'm actually trying to figure out that myself because back then, like I had this, I thought I had my future set in stone. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
go and go to a film industry and do something, but I, yeah, I realized that wasn't my passion and it wasn't something I strive to go in. So then I thought about being like a marine biologist or something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I don't know, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I think
Oh,
like I'm just gonna take my time and figure it out.
yeah,
And with
that's
the whole
normal.
pandemic thing, yeah, with the whole pandemic thing, like I think it's gonna be easy for me to uh,
Yeah,
absorb myself in something.
yeah, definitely for sure. That's the normal thing to do. It's just sort of figure out what you want to do, like around
Yeah.
this time. I mean, there's some people who go to college. One of the other guys that I interviewed here, he actually said that he switched his major like 5 times or so.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's like he couldn't switch it another time, or else he would have to graduate later.
Oh.
Um, and he's like graduating only a semester late than he should.
Oh.
Um, yeah, just so it's just like it's not a big deal for you to try and explore all these different options while you can. You know,
Yeah.
as long as you can pay for it, at least. That's always the
And I
sticking
think the
point.
benefit of like staying close to home is that I don't have to, pay that much money for
Mm-hmm.
education. I could use that money to like invest or do something else about it.
Yeah, that's very true. Have you heard about that new thing that the UCs are doing where they're just not gonna take SAT and
Oh
ACT
yeah.
scores? So are you gonna take advantage of that now?
College board being getting out of business, bro. I
Yeah,
think that applies to me that much anymore. Cause like it's over for me.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, they're saying that each school that can decide for itself if they want to use SAT or ACT
Yeah.
until 2023, and then that's
Yeah.
when every school has to just not take it.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they're hoping to have a different test that's more helpful than the SAT by 2025. And if they don't, then they're just gonna get rid of the SAT, ACT.
Yeah. Might as well get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah,
Be
it's not
inaccurate.
helpful. And it's just you have
Yeah.
to pay money for that too. That's the like I thought that was just something that schools give you, but no, you have to pay for it. That's kind of whack.
I don't know. Like college board's just sketchy in general.
It is.
They just want your money.
Have you seen that one thing where they made a fake Reddit account to try and
No,
get
bro.
kids to cheat?
I can't find the subreddit though. Like, did they delete it or something?
Uh, I know for sure they probably deleted the account.
Damn it.
I don't think they would take the whole subreddit down though.
Yeah.
Just gotta do some detective work on Twitter and find that thing again. They put more effort into getting kids to try to cheat than to actually make a decent test. It's just,
So,
they really just said, okay, SAT, it is what it is.
oh,
Freaking, yeah.
like they had like a lawsuit filed against them.
Oh, they should. They
Yeah,
definitely
they'll be.
deserve it. It's like
They're like,
that's entrapment. That's some kind of FBI sting operation right there. For
and also like they're very I'm not gonna say this. I want to say like discriminating, but
no, you
okay.
can
So for
say it.
example,
Say it to the
for
people.
it's not discrimination. Like pretty much. Like, for example, if you're a kid, right,
Mm-hmm.
score 1,000 on your SAT or your sophomore year, and then you
Mm-hmm.
practice, and for your junior year, score like a 1,500, right?
Yeah.
I think you're cheating. Then
Bruh.
they'll cancel your score, and then they'll ban you from taking any college board tests ever again.
Man. They really whatever. College is
Yeah,
whack.
it's not
College
discriminating, but then it's
board.
just unfair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just I mean it is discriminating. It's discriminating against kids who improve and like they
Yeah.
actually put in the time.
Yeah.
It's just like you improve too much. Oh, okay. I guess. You know, you don't want kids to learn in the education
Yeah.
system. That's your problem.
But then like I don't know why they would ban him from like taking their college board test because they still want money. But
Yeah,
they ban him. It's so
it's
stupid.
you could I don't know. I guess that's just the thing. They know that they're scamming millions of high school kids. So what's like one kid that gets banned from it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder how
whatever.
much money they make. Yeah. Like just a multi-millionaire.
I mean,
Funny.
they have a monopoly, you know, there's
Yeah,
no one
that's
that
true.
hasn't
Huh?
heard of the SAT or the ACT and they give out both. So it doesn't even matter if how much money they make. They're the only ones that are making the money.
Yeah. I think SAT and ACT are for like different companies though. ACT has like its own separate company and people take ACT because the company has more morals than College Board.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know. I'd probably need to do more research, but I mean, regardless, like you get the point, you know,
Yeah.
it's like trying to start a soda company. You know, there's only the Coca-Cola company and Pepsi, and they own like all of the other brands underneath them. So it's like no one else can make money off of it. Whatever.
Yo, but then like if you're unemployed or something, like for College Board,
Yeah.
like I bet that's a really stable job there. People hate you, but gotta make a living.
Yeah, well, it's always stable to work with companies that aren't well liked because there's plenty of those. I mean, there's a reason that they're not well liked. It's because they do what it takes to just
Get
always
money.
make more and more money. But this is just like goofy. This is like some intern, like, just came up with the idea. Like, oh, what
Making
if
a
we try to get kids to cheat through Reddit?
no.
It's like, what does that do? It's like if you ban them from taking the tests, they'll probably want a refund, and if you don't give them that
Mm-hmm.
refund, they'll probably sue or something, get a
Yep.
class action lawsuit. But whatever,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. There's always dumb things when it comes to the way that they try to educate you and put you through all these things just so you can go to college. And it's just like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
I guess like
Anyways, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, you go ahead.
No, you can finish your thought.
I mean, like I think I lost my train of thought, so go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, I mean, anyways, so moving on from that, overall, then, is there something that you like to do, like in terms of a hobby or just working on things in general? Because you said that you figured out film wasn't really your passion, and now you're steering more towards a marine biologist, but you're not really sure on that.
Okay, so for hobbies, like I've been getting into like pixel art and you're making those, 8-bit games, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't really dove deep into it. And I also have a habit of, coming up with really ambitious projects and never finishing them.
Okay.
I don't know how things are gonna change, but as of the moment, I'm actually to collab with my friend to make a simple game,
Mm-hmm.
but who knows how far that'll go.
Okay. What are you making the game in? Like Game Maker or Flash?
Unity,
Unity?
like everyone
Okay.
else does.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's also pre-made assets for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I mean, there's definitely a lot to do there because, like, there's more and more people that buy these small games that aren't coming from big companies.
Yeah. Yeah, I get really inspired by indie games.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I play a lot, and then it just gives me the urge to make something of my own.
yeah, I mean that's dope. Like that's really where it's at, you know. It's like we all start somewhere and who knows, like if you make a small company or a small game, you can use that, and then that'll lead into bigger opportunities. Like you might get picked up by a bigger company, or even just a smaller one, just to work on something
Yeah.
else. That'd be dope.
Yeah. But who knows where the future goes?
Yeah.
Like, I could just be speaking to you about this and not make a game at all or something, or do something
I mean,
else.
it's your hobby, do what you want with
Yeah.
it. It's like, for me, uh, if it was my job to make short films all the time, then like, sure, I wouldn't be doing stuff like Captain Vietnam, where I'm just sort of messing around with the story and everything. Cause, I mean, like, I don't really. It's not that I hate Captain Vietnam, but I don't like love it. It's
Yeah.
not my best work, but at least I finished it, and that's what I really wanted to do,
Yeah.
first and foremost.
I
So
agree.
I don't know. I think like it's your hobby. Do what you want with it, and you just get a lot of experience out of just that sort of freedom to do what you want.
Did you find it hard to make films for fun? Like, for example, when you had the plan to make Captain Vietnam, did you find it hard to get really into it?
No, but I know that when I was around your age or younger and I had a YouTube channel, I found it really hard to like keep trying to make videos, and cuz I started with skits and
Hmm.
ended up with rapping, and then it became vlogs just because that was way easier to do, and that was when Jake Paul was like the thing every single day, him and his daily vlogs. But now I think I've learned to really focus a lot on doing one project at a time, and that really
Yeah.
helped me a lot. Like, I can come up with ideas and I write those down, but I really, really focus hard on making this one thing and making it happen first. And then I can use it to like show other people and ask them if they want to be part of the next thing I'm working on. And then if they say yes or no, like it more depends on what I show them and how good that was. And then hopefully I get more people to help me, and so it can become a bigger project for next time. And then I use that to show other people, and that'll be even bigger next time. So I think it's it's very different the way that I treat my sort of hobby, as you would call it, for filmmaking, because I don't treat it as a hobby. Like if I just treat it more as working for myself, kind of.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. We respect that.
Yeah, we stand.
We stand working.
Yeah,
I don't know, for me personally, I can't imagine myself in that position.
really.
Maybe because they have a really short attention span or something, and I try to I come up with a bunch of ideas, but I never go through without them completely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I find it hard to
Well,
indulge myself in something that I like.
yeah, I mean, what helps me a lot is having friends who actually like add to the idea. Like Captain
Mm.
Vietnam wouldn't have happened if didn't have my friend from high school that's at the same age as me, and like she's just nice enough to sort of throw things back and forth at me. Like I say this idea at her, but I'm missing this part, and then she goes like, "Okay, what about this?" And then I'm like, "Well, that won't work, but that gives me this idea." And then she'll be like, "Yeah, that would work." And then I would be like, "Yeah, that would work." Oh, yeah, that would work. And then it just goes from there. So
Oh yeah,
I think overall, like you collaborating with your friend on your 8-bit games, like that will be really helpful for you to motivate. And because now that you've said it to one person, it's almost like if you say it, it becomes true kind of deal
yeah,
where you want to carry through with it and you don't want to really disappoint them.
yeah, that's true. And I think me offering to offering by proposing this collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll push me to actually pull through with my ideas and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I know I try to do that for other people, where I offer to them and like I will help produce your idea. I'll help like collaborate and make it a thing. And right now I'm helping someone else that voice acted on Captain Vietnam with his idea for a short film,
Oh,
because I know that like I have the skills and that I can organize it to a point where it actually feels like it's a real thing, and it's not just some idea that he wrote down in 10 minutes. You
yeah.
know, and so I think it's also really important to, because there's like a bunch of different formats you can use, and you can just be like coding it yourself, but it feels more official when you use like formats that other people recognize a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you're writing a story out, it's like it can be more helpful if you write it in a script, and then it feels more official, and then it's like, oh yeah, this will be a really cool thing for me to finish, because then it will be like ready to go and it'll be official, as opposed to being, just like kind of a scribble on a post-it note.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the kind of things that help me out a little bit.
You often find yourself like not being on the same page as the people you collab with.
um I find that my suggestions aren't 100% right, but they will take about 60 or 80% of it and put it in. And
Oh.
so I haven't had major disagreements with them yet, but I have had a lot of times where it's like it's really important that this is 100%, because this, if you take 100% of this idea, it links into at least 50% of this other idea that I linked it together. And
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to get my partners to really understand, like,
Yeah.
because that's just the way I work. Like, I work on one thing, it links into this other thing, and then it forms like a really nice big picture. But for them, they only see this one thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, I can take this little piece. So I don't have disagreements with them, but I do have to be really patient and explain sometimes. And it's just like, this is really important. I really believe in this. If you don't, then we can scrap that idea and I can rework something else to better fit your big picture. Because the important thing is that like they started with the idea and I want them to have final say on everything, but for the most part I'm making it official. So if I can explain to them why like my ideas are going to be really strong and really well made, then hopefully they'll agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of partnership like that, and you just have to recognize you're on the same team. You know, it's like if you're gonna argue, it shouldn't be over some small stuff. You should find a way to agree on that big picture. You want to get this thing done. You just have different ways of thinking about it. Sometimes you need to get creative about it. Find a way that satisfies both, because that's not a compromise at that point. That's actually improving the idea so that it fits more people.
Yeah.
So that's overall, that's the kind of thing that I've been sort of on. Like I've had disagreements with people before when I was helping them with like a stage play. I told you this story, and they would agree with my idea on paper, and then they would take like 0% of it, and that really annoyed
Oh.
me. Yeah. If,
Yeah. I think it's because like they're compliant to what you're telling them at first,
mm-hmm.
but they'll absorb the information in. So
Yeah.
is it is that what it?
Kind of. It's just they'll be like, okay, yeah, I mean, I like some of this, and then, but in reality, they don't like it, and they were basically lying to my face, and
Oh.
it it just showed that they really didn't respect my work, and they weren't respecting the sort of big picture that I was trying to form.
Yeah.
Because I explained it to them over and over, they would just do something different, and they wouldn't tell me. That's the worst part about it. They wouldn't tell
Ooh.
me, and they wouldn't be able to explain to me like to a satisfactory degree, because I can explain why something will be good in terms of writing. It's like banking on this concept, it's adding to this theme, but then they couldn't explain why their version was better to me with the same language I was using to them. So it would seem like they were just ignoring my ideas and that they felt theirs was better for really insignificant reasons.
Yeah. I think
So, yeah.
it's like the two, parties have to like just collaborate and compromise because if the either party like they're too like direct on their idea and then like they don't see any other perspective. Even though they agreed with you, like they still can't, see what's so significant about your idea.
Yeah, they agree with you, but they don't understand why it's important to actually make your idea real and put
Mm-hmm.
it in, so they just never get around to doing it. And that's it's something that you learn when you work with different personalities. Some people will be more lazy to do things, other people will do it right away. And I think it's overall working with that person, it was a good experience for learning to work with different people, but it's also like you're gonna get disrespect sometimes, and
Yeah,
it's not gonna be fun, and you just have to shrug it off, because if you don't, then it doesn't get finished. And for me, I wanted to finish it more at that time, but knowing now just how disrespectful it was, and looking back on it, I wouldn't have cared if it stayed unfinished, because
oh,
because like I was hoping that I would get something more out of it being finished. And when I look back on it, I'd rather it be unfinished because I never got credit for like all of my work that I put onto it. They pretty much took all my credit, and to this day, they have like a personal grudge against me. Every time I try to mention,
really?
yeah, every time I try to mention like, hey, look, this is how you can improve things. Like I
Oh,
write down all these reasons for this is how you did things like kind of wrong or really wrong, and this is like how it affects other people. And I explain it to them in detail, and then I explain my recommendations for here's how you can improve that. Here's how you can change these things so that they're better for people. And I wrote that all on like a big report, and then I gave it to them, and their response was just meh, because they had a good experience. They
yeah.
had the most fun experience ever. It was just me that was just doing all the work for them. And that's when I
Yeah, I wouldn't bother
realized,
with them.
yeah, and that's when I realized that like this person doesn't get it. Like this person doesn't want to make things. This person doesn't want to add value. All this person wants to do is just be part of it. And like the bigger her part, the bigger her role is, the more credit that she gets.
Yeah,
Like she's fine with however much she gets. And for me, I'm fine with not getting as much credit. Like right now, I'm not putting myself as director of the project, the short film I'm working on with the other guy that was a voice actor for Captain Vietnam, because it's his idea, and I want him to have final say in everything. But I am gonna put myself as producer and as main writer, because that is what I did. Like I turned his idea into an actual script. I rewrote a bunch of it, and I'm trying to make it happen. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not being director and not getting the biggest credit of all. She wouldn't be fine with that. And so you also it's important to work with people that you can work with. She can work with people who are like pushovers and like playmats, which is what I was uh back when I worked with her. But now that I'm bringing things up to her and I'm acting like her equal, she doesn't really like that. And that's why she has a grudge against me.
yeah.
Cuz
So
yeah,
people just want full control.
pretty much. And it's not even because she had full control before she put me on and before she asked for my help. She didn't even really ask. She just like put me
She's
in the
like, hey,
position. She just said, "Hey, you're this now." She never asked if I wanted to do it or anything like that. All I said was that I wanted to help in some way with the script or with producing it. And then next thing you know, she's like, "Okay, you're doing this now," and I'm like, "I guess." Um, so she had full control, but she wasn't willing to put it through. You know, she has this grand vision of hers, but she wasn't gonna put in the work to do it. She was just getting other people to do it for her. And then I did it for her. So, whatever. I mean, it happens. And it's like, it's just important to recognize what you're bringing to the table and also keep in mind what your partner is bringing to the table.
Yeah. Hey, do you know where she is now?
Yeah,
Just
I know where she is now, and I have a general idea on just how she's doing. For example, she was gonna do another stage play, because it's like an annual thing, and they chose her to do it again over
yeah.
me, and then it got canceled due to the pandemic, which is poggers. Um, and
No, you
then
said you were saying unfortunate or something.
nah, nah. I mean, sure, but my main thing is I don't want people to go through what I went through, where I just put in all the work and she would do nothing. And I
Yeah.
and the judging from her reaction to my report, where she just went, this report doesn't mean anything to me. Like that was her actual reaction. It was just, oh, okay, you know, it's like she didn't read any of it at all. She didn't look through it or in like process it until like I sort of called her out in front of people, and then she had her friends go and like try to roast it and just do a live reading of it and say
Yeah,
that it's
what
all
the
written like
hell?
shit. Yeah,
Eddie.
it's like she definitely does not have good friends around her.
And
Um,
like she's your age, right? So she's like
no,
18, 20.
she's older by like,
Oh, oh.
yeah, by 3 years. It's so I understand if someone's acting this way when they're younger than me, but they're
Yeah,
not.
exactly. A full like adult. And she's
Yep.
like being petty and then like sensitive towards constructive criticism. Yeah, and holding grudges and stuff. Like, yo, that's you.
Yeah. But I mean, whatever. So that's why I'm like very much poggers. Like I try not to dislike a lot of people, you know? Like
Yeah.
I try to be super patient, and like if I'm not going to be nice, I'm going to at least be to the point and neutral. But I mean, she's just that kind of person where if you're not being 110% nice to her, then she's gonna just not really, you can't influence her. So that's that whole debacle. Um and then where she is now, she had a chance to do the next one, like hopefully after this pandemic is over. um, the next theater play that would happen in 20 or spring of 2021. um, but she declined to do that, and I assume
Oh,
finally she wants to move on with her life. But that doesn't put me at ease because it's a tradition for the director of last year to come back and give their input and try to guide the director of this year's stage play.
yeah.
But what does put me at ease is that I saw the kind of candidates that they had, and they're people who wouldn't take her crap, basically.
Uh-oh.
Like, they're people who would actually work hard, and they would be. One of them actually was an actor under me, and she was really inspired by my work ethic. So, like, that really put me at ease.
That's good.
Um, Unfortunately, she's dating a very close friend of hers, um, of the last year's director.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's that potential connection where she's just that last year's director will pass it to that friend, and that friend will pass it to his girlfriend. But I mean, that's not for me to control. You know,
Yeah.
as long as they can do a better job than her, that's what satisfies me. And it's like there's no guarantees, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. The funny thing is, neither of those two guys got elected, And so now they're still doing another rerun of it, and no one knows like who wants to do it and who doesn't. And in that case, people who are in other positions might take over, but um, I mean, nothing's still guaranteed with the pandemic. I don't think my college is gonna open up for spring of 2021. Like, there's no way this disease dies out that fast. And my college is really, really careful about it. So here's
Yeah.
hoping it gets canceled a second time.
Oh my god,
Yeah, I mean, it's a safety thing as well, you know?
it's
It's
good.
because it's not just that people get together to watch it and like fill a theater. It's people get together to practice. People get
Yeah,
together to just
that's gonna be
hang out.
problematic.
Yeah, you have people who just come in and want to see how it's doing because they did it last year, but they don't have the time to do it this year. It's like way too much to do
Mhm.
when you can't be near people. So,
Yeah.
here's hoping. Here's hoping that the slate is wiped clean away from her and her influence, but also as well so that people can stay healthy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, on a
Anyways,
personal note though.
what was
Oh, wait,
that?
are we okay? On a
Uh,
personal note, like wasn't this the girl that like had a crush on you? Like the director?
yeah, definitely so.
What happened
Um,
then?
I mean, never really went anywhere because she's a serial monogamous, and it's just
Oh,
yeah, she goes through breakup after breakup, and she thinks like she's learned something through it, but then she hasn't really learned anything. It's just not in her best
ouch.
interest. So,
Mm.
I mean, it happens, and it's thankfully even to this day and back then I was focused more on finishing the show and getting some like finishing the project and advancing my career basically,
Yeah.
compared to chasing after girls. Like I wasn't like that back in high school, but then I learned now it's like things can wait, because
Mhm.
it's like it's more important that I look after myself and that I just try to improve myself to the best I can, because I spend 100% of my time, my lifespan with myself. So I'm gonna try to be someone that I can
Yeah.
tolerate. I don't have to spend 100% of my time if I ever get married to someone. So,
I see, I see.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Like spending time with yourself is like the best, you know? Like you find stuff about yourself like you didn't even know,
yeah.
you know?
And
And then
it's also just like I don't need someone else to try and fill in the cracks in myself. You
yeah, me
know,
too.
it's just I'm cool with just having a bunch of friends who support me, which is why I went. I guess that explains a little bit of why, like I always like trying to do more videos and stuff like Captain Vietnam, because then I get an excuse to have my friends hang out with me and have them work on this thing that helps us both a little bit. I
Yeah,
always really like that, just being able
yeah.
to do that.
I really like spending time with friends and then helping them out and doing something, productive with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like why waste time on a relationship where you could,
I mean,
chill.
it's just it's the way that people have seen it in the movies or in TV, and they sort of like they really play it up to where, oh, this is the person that will be with you for the rest of your life, that will literally sometimes fight to the death for you and will die for you. And then when you get to real life, it's like, well, none of that stuff is here. People don't fight to the death anymore. People like, so what's left? And what's left is basically just hanging out with each other. And I mean, I get it. It's really nice to think of having like a really cool partner in crime with you that supports you through all your stuff. But I can find that in my friends. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah. And the friend that helped me with this, like I kind of considered him to be that. And So we're not like obviously we're not dating or anything like that. There's no context to that, but we still help each other out, and we're like we kind of stick to each other now because that's just it's important to us. And I think overall it's important to be able to recognize that away from romance. It's just being able to stick to other people because it's like if you don't want to die alone, then you should do your best not to live alone either.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I hate how the culture just, prioritizes relationships and sex and stuff, even though that's not really
Yeah,
important.
and it's but people really like the fantasy of it, and
Yeah.
I won't blame them. You know, like there was a time where I was sort of stuck in that back in high school when I was like 15 or so, when I was younger than your age right now. But like now that I've actually done things on my own and I've given myself time to think about what I want to do for myself, then so I just came to a realization like most people they really live by themselves, and like I shouldn't be focused on the one day where I might meet someone that will live with me. No, I should be focusing on the thousands of days where I'm going to be living with myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just, it really sucks that culture's like that. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
You,
sorry, you can finish your thought?
yeah, no, I mean, no, I was just saying that, no, you get made fun of if you're a virgin and stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's
that's,
so stupid. Like,
it
and
is.
people act like sex is like such an important
Well,
thing.
I mean, I guess it's also important to recognize that our culture's a little different than theirs, cause like we're both Vietnamese, and being East Asian, like sex is really downplayed. I mean,
It's kind of a
China,
taboo too. Like,
yeah,
no sex before premarital sex.
pretty
Oh
much, and it's like in China they have one child policy that's literally
yeah, that's true.
limiting like sex, and um it's just overall in East Asian culture, the it's just like sure romance is a thing, but what becomes way more important is trying to work and get a career and
Yeah,
like just make money and also just not get hit by war and stuff. And that's just something that white people have had a long time to just not deal with that. And white people make a lot of the media. So
yeah,
they influence themselves, and as the majority of the population, they sort of dictate culture at least a little bit. And I mean, we immigrated here to America and we adopt a little bit of their culture, It's not like we chose not to learn English or we chose not to look at their movies. We did look at those. And so obviously it's going to pass off on us a little bit. But so their culture is different from ours, and the way that they form their ideas on sex and stuff, it's important to recognize that that's like just because it doesn't line up with ours that it's not wrong, but it does suck when we're
yeah,
treated as weird because of the way we look at it, you know.
yeah.
So it's overall that is how it is, and hopefully it changes in the upcoming years because
Mm.
I mean, I think I've been reading like on a couple of news headlines, more people are ending up single than ever, and like the birth rates across the world they're just dropping thanks to more technology and stuff, and people can focus on themselves a lot more. So eventually, here's hoping culture will be able to catch up with that and say, okay, yeah, being single, that's kind of the normal thing.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen though. Or it'll take a long time before that happens with like how things have been going for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And you're always going to get the people who are talking about how it was normal back then and why and they're gonna get angry on why it isn't normal now. But I mean, so be it. Like there's this one video I saw where the human population won't ever get to 12 billion humans, just because that's how badly the birth rates are slowing down. So
Then it's good because like the maximum capacity of the Earth is like 10 million or something. Not 10 million, 10 billion, isn't it?
um, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
a certain point. Yeah.
but yeah, it's like it's not too much of a bad thing that birth rates are falling down. It's the only thing that we can really we have to be ready for it, and that's all. And
Yeah.
here's hoping the culture will be ready for it. All right. And then I think we're already over pretty much double of what the other interviews used to be. So I think this is a pretty good place to cap it off.
Yep.
Do you
Yeah,
have
I think
any?
we spoke like way over what the interview portion is. 'Cause we
Yeah,
only like yeah, you only asked me a couple questions about the interview, and then I just said so, and then we just went up on tangents about College Board and stuff.
I mean that's how it is, because the main thing I just made a video yesterday to introduce these interviews as a collection. And what I said there was that the main thing I wanted for these interviews was to show the kind of actual relationship and like friendship that I try to maintain with people on my cast and crew. They're not just people that are like tools where I use them and then I put them back in the box. Only
Mhm.
when I'll only call them up just to like ask if they want to help me again over and over. Cause and I want to avoid that especially now because that's the way that I felt that I was treated working on that
Yeah.
theater play with that director. So it's like, as bad of an experience as it was working with that director, I learned a lot about just treating people right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they don't. Um, but yeah, so are there any final comments or questions that you have for me uh, while we're
Um,
here?
I, not really. Like, I think I have like more stuff to say, but not at the moment.
Okay. I mean that's fine. This is just a authentic conversation. Just we're going at this raw, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
And like, what if one of us starts like a podcast or thing? It'd be fun.
I mean, I'd definitely be down for that. It would take a little bit of time, and that would take a lot of organization too, cause like we have this one chat, and we covered a lot of what we think, and it's hard to do that for a new thing every week, cause you don't want to just go back to saying what you did last podcast, cause
Mhm.
like people will catch on to that, and it will just get dry, you know. So it podcasting is a little harder than people think it is, but it's really not that much harder compared to like making a short film or
Mhm.
writing a book. Like that's hard, and
Yeah.
people really don't think about how hard it is.
That's what I would say about me, like being too ambitious and then finding new ideas but never going through with them. Like I'm talking about just like making a podcast on my own now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been actually like thinking of making a podcast for a long time. Like I don't know, back like when I was, probably 15, 16.
Uh-huh.
This thing never pulled through.
Well, I
And
actually
yeah, that's why I have like a bunch of ideas, but never I don't know.
well,
Mostly because I'm not motivated to.
yeah. I mean, on that topic, I started a podcast with my best friend at the time back when we were 14 or so, and we had like
Mm.
7 episodes or so because I was trying to get it through, but it was really repetitive. We spent an entire podcast arguing about color and like the color of the podcast logo. And I still use that logo that I asked someone to draw for the podcast. But it's like that podcast really didn't pan out because it's not like it was ambitious or anything. It's just doing it regularly. That's not something that
Yeah.
a lot of people in school really can do.
Yeah. 'Cause I was thinking like just me and the other person just like talking like we are right now, like
Yeah,
raw, like
I mean that's definitely possible, but to in the long term, it does need to
yeah,
be
like,
more
yeah, I
organized.
get what you mean.
Yeah. All
Because like
right.
a podcast, it's just like, not just for people to just listen to and whatever. I'm just like trying to like you know record,
Yeah,
record like deep conversations and then like reflect on friendship and stuff. That's like the main point of me wanting to start a podcast.
I guess so. Yeah. But I mean, I think overall it's like it's more important to just remember the conversation than actually sort of record it cuz I know that like some people if they write something down, they forget it in their brain. And if it's like going to be a really important conversation, like I think it you wouldn't want to record that just cuz it's it's something you want to stay with you and not
Hmm.
have to look back at a recording over and over and over again.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just a way to document stuff. Uh,
Yeah, I
no,
definitely had that feeling. Like there's this idea I have of writing out every single day I can remember in my life in memory. Like cuz I know my memory starts from when I was 5 years old. And for most people they start when they're like 3 or 4. But for me it's like I guess I started a bit late. But
hmm,
you know that is what it is. So yeah. All right.
yeah.
So besides that, is there anything you want to say to the viewers? Any last thing, like a lesson or just a question or a comment to them?
Okay. Let me think. For the audience, remember to drink water.
Aha. All right. So do you have anything that you want to plug at the very end of this? And any like Instagram or social media?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. All
I like keep
right.
it low key.
Yeah, I feel that. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks again for all your help with Captain Vietnam. It wouldn't have happened without you for sure. You're the only female voice actor we had, so just thanks for all your hard work on making Captain Vietnam real.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I had fun doing it. It was a bit awkward.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, with the blanket thing.
yeah. Here's hoping that it can be improved again, in the future. But for now, good health to you, and here's some cheers to working with you again later on.
Yeah,
All
see
right.
ya.
And now I'm gonna stop the recording here.